returned from the coast to coast walk last night, and before I unpacked my rucksack and clear everything out, then I thought I would run through some of the things that I took with me on the trip. So before I look in my rucksack, I will just run through the things that aren't here, the things that I was wearing and that are in the wash. So very quickly, so I had my Ultra Lone Peak shoes on. You'll have seen them. They were good, they were excellent, they were quick drying, they were comfortable. I had a pair of woolen socks from EDZ. I had the black trousers I was wearing are Hopper Kiwi Pro. They have a stretch in them which I like. The fit of them works for me. Other trousers I've tried don't fit me properly, so those ones do. They're really quick drying. You saw me going across rivers, and so they work in terms of drying quickly. And you can roll them up, and the turn up kind of stays in them, which I like when it's warm. So that's the Hopper Kiwi Pro. They're pretty good. I had boxer shorts on, and they're the Finister ones, merino. They were good. And the orange top that you'll have seen me wearing, that's a Hoka Sierra Sun hoodie. It's excellent. I've been wearing it now in a few trips that you'll have seen. I really like it. It's not too warm, it dries really quickly, and when it's sunny you can put the hood up and the sleeves down, as it was yesterday, to protect you from the sun. But also when it's been windy or wet, you can put the hood up and the sleeves down, and it adds a bit of warmth, particularly if you put a windproof over it. So I really like the Hoka Sun hoodie. The other things that aren't here are my walking poles. They're just a standard pair of walking poles from Lafuma, I think. And then there's a couple of things in the bag, but I'll remember them as I go through the bag. So I'll start going through the bag. So this is the Xped Lightning 45 backpack. I like it. I really like it. It worked really well for me. I've been using it for a long time now, a couple of years. The things I really like about it is a fully adjustable back frame, so you can fine tune it to millimeters on the back frame to make sure the size is exactly what you need it. There's not many on the market that do that, so I really like that. It's a single metal rod to provide the frame. That's how it works. That's again a wee bit unusual. Often it's two down the outside. The hip belt is quite big and very comfortable. The strapping on it stays tight. It doesn't get loose through the day, which I think is really important. And I like the way that it sits on my back. It sits relatively close without being flat on my back, so that it's got a bit of airflow, but some of the others, like the Osprey and the Gregory, I find feel a bit unstable. They sit a wee bit far from my back. I feel a lot of people love them, and I do like them, but yeah, I just prefer the way that this one sits on my back than the others. So that's the Xped. It's got the hip belt pockets, which are good. It's got the side pockets. You'll have seen the tent went in there, the walking poles go in there, other stuff, so that's good. The only complaint I had about this bag when I first got it was that it didn't have the stuff pocket that some of the others have, but Xped do make this flash pocket, it's called, and you can attach it on. There's hooks on the rucksack to let you attach it, and I love having this on a backpack, so you can put so much in it. So having this is really good. It's also quite good because you can take it off, and if you're going on public transport, then you can take this bit to your seat, for example, and put the backpack in the hold or whatever, or as I did when I was in Braemar, went to the campsite, left everything in the campsite, and then just took this into town to do my shopping. So it kind of doubles up. So I really like that addition. So that's the Xped Lightning 45. I've added a bottle holder to the shoulder strap, and that's the OMM bottle holder, so that I can have my water there. I'll go through, so the front pocket, so in here I've actually got my Kindle. That's because I was on the train with it. I've got my first aid kit. Normally that's in the pack, but that was just we needed it on the train. So in the first aid kit, it's just everyone takes their own thing, but I've got like Compeed, ibuprofen, paracetamol. I've got a small pair of scissors. I've got a tick remover. I've got elastoplast tape. I've got some plasters and strapping, and that's pretty much it. Fairly standard first aid kit. That's my hat. Sunglasses. I keep my fuel in there just in case it leaks, so it's kind of on the outside of the pack. So that's meths. I keep alcohol hand spray in there, so it's accessible. Smidge, midgie repellent I keep in there, and my platypus, so that at the end of the day it's on the outside of the back and I'm not fiddling around. I'm always tempted to get into the tent without getting water, and that just helps. The rest is just a couple of plastic Ziploc bags. So that was on the outside of the pack. In the pack, this is my food and cook kit. So one small, it's a wee red light cup. You've seen this before. This is a titanium 600ml cup, and it's a homemade. It's a homemade titanium windshield and pot stand. So you've seen that in my videos. So it connects together like that, and the cup sits in it. I've got my coffee holder, some tea bags, a titanium long handled spoon. That's the coffee plunger, which you've seen me use many times. It's the Jetboil press, and it just happens to fit with that cup, which is fantastic. Will let you have a good coffee. And this is, so that's a wee speedster stove meths burner. I actually ran out of gas in my standard Soto lighter, so I had to buy a lighter in Braemar. So that's what that is. And I've got a small 8-gram titanium flint backup, and those finger covers, you know, so that you don't burn your fingers. So that is I think that's the cook kit. I don't think I've missed anything. That's the tent. I'm not going to get it all out. You've seen it. It's the Xmid 1P solid. It was very good. It's taken a while to get used to it, but I do really like it now. It's light, maybe, I can't remember the exact weight, 800 grams ish. I've made a few modifications that I put, I think, in my last video, and that's definitely helped a lot. It dried really quickly, which I was impressed with. It didn't really have to handle high winds or anything, so I don't really have a sense of how it would. I believe it handles well, but I haven't got personal experience of that. It's waterproof. You know, there was very, very heavy rain when I was out, and of course it was fine, which is what you would expect. And it's a very good space inside it, I would say. So the Xmid 1P solid, that was good. And then I keep my waterproofs near the top. So I've got kind of waterproof gloves. They're the OMM gloves. I think they're about 30 grams. Waterproof trousers. That's the Berghaus Pack Light trousers. They're relatively heavy, 240 grams maybe. But you know, I've got lighter ones, but they get shredded. So that's, you kind of need something. And then that's the Haglof's Limb Gore-Tex Pack Light jacket. And it's about 200 grams, which is light for a Gore-Tex jacket. It's excellent. I've worn it now for a long time and would highly recommend that. So I keep my waterproofs near the top in case I need to access them. And then tent pegs. So yeah, just a couple of Easton 9-inch, 4 Easton 9-inch. 2 titanium shepherd's hooks. They go in the doors of the X-Mid, and then 2 small titanium shepherd hooks, and they go on the door as well further along. If you look at my last video, then you can see the mods. And 2 small mini groundhogs for the guy lines, the 2 guy lines on the X-Mid. That's the pegs, and they're in a DCF bag from can't quite remember right now. So I then have everything inside a plastic liner, one of those super light liners. In fact, I'll show you one other thing, and that is I have the paper maps. I didn't use them, but I keep the paper maps just in a special zip section inside the bag. This was my spare clothes, so this had a hat in it, a Montbell hat, that's in the wash. It had an Outdoor Research Echo t-shirt. I wear that in bed, but I can also wear it to walk if I need to. And a pair of super light Nike shorts, which I wear in bed, can wear them to walk in if I absolutely have to. And a pair of woolen fingerless mitts, fingerless gloves. So that goes in a waterproof bag. I think that's all. Oh, and my fleece, which is a MacPack Nitro, and it's excellent. It's better than any other, I would say. It uses the Polartec, I've forgotten the name of it right now, the type of fleece, but it's very, very good. MacPack Nitro. Super light, super warm, super quick dry. In here is my toiletries, so that is a toothbrush, my contact lenses, a small amount of soap for when I was on the campsite, a pair of earplugs also for the campsite, and my toothpaste tablets. I don't take a tube, I take these tablets, and I'd highly recommend them. They make it easier than taking a big tube of toothpaste. I'm wondering if you've got enough, you can just count out how many toothpaste tabs you need. Yeah, that's it, and a couple of extra medicines like paracetamol and stuff. Then my electronics in a DCF zip bag. So in here I've got like SD cards for the GoPro, a microphone cover for the GoPro, spare GoPro batteries, my headphones for which I just use in the train, and a spare cable. There's not too much in there. I do actually have another electronics bag, and it has my battery pack and a 3-in-1 cable, so that charges an iPhone and the 2 USBs. Is it USB-C and A? Can't remember, but it's a 3-in-1 cable from Anker, and this is the Nightcore 10,000 battery, the lightest battery pack on the market. So that's there. This is another battery pack, but I didn't actually, well, my daughter brought it yesterday, so it wasn't really with me on the trip. I've got a plug for recharging, and it's got two USBs so that you can charge two things at once. That was valuable for the stops. I've got a spare iPhone charger for my phone so that I can charge two things at once. I've got a whistle, a compass, and a head torch, and I use the head torch in the tent most nights and mornings, and that's the Pepso Bindi. I've been using that for a few years and it is good. That's my windproof. It's usually in the waterproofs bag. Things are a wee bit out of order just because of the train home. That's a plastic liner, the polycro liner that you put under the tent, and I did use that. I like to protect the bottom of the tent, and it's super light, and I've not had any problems with water seeping through the bottom of the X-Mid, but it just makes sure that it doesn't. And also there was one day I was camped on some kind of heathery ground, so it just adds a layer of protection. The heather could puncture the polycro, but yeah, maybe it just is peace of mind. So that's the yellow bag is the X-Ped pump sack that you can use to pump up your air mat. You know, you attach that on, and it doubles up as a waterproof bag. So that's why I take that. That's my spare boxer shorts and socks. They would normally be in here. As I say, things are a little muddled up. That's my pillow. It's an X-Ped Ultra Pillow Large, and I used to have the medium, and the difference between the large and the medium is significant. Really comfortable. The medium used to always slip off, but that's really good. That is my kind of sleeping bag liner from Cumulus. I think it's 90 grams, the Airtastic fabric I think it's called. And I always use that. It keeps your quilt a little bit cleaner, and also if you're in a quilt, you know, you're not against the mat and stuff like that. It helps, but it's quite wide, so you can still move around and sleep in your side comfortably. So I always use that. That's my quilt. You've seen it many times. It's the Enlightened Equipment. I should have double checked. I've just forgotten, sorry. It's the Enlightened Equipment quilt. It weighs 600 grams. It's got about 300 grams of down, something like that. And it's the one that doesn't have an open foot box. It's got a fully sealed foot box on it. I've been using that for about a year and a half. It's fantastic. Really love it. It's rated down to about 4 degrees. It was obviously sub-zero 2 nights on that trip when I had ice, and I was cold on both of those nights. I wasn't like dangerously cold, I was just a wee bit uncomfortable. It was waking me up a little bit, and I couldn't quite sleep, and that was with my fleece on as well as my shorts and t-shirts. So, but I think that shows it's probably rated about right. It probably is comfortable down for me down to about 2 or 3 degrees, but if you go sub-zero, maybe not. And I think, yeah, so what I do something slightly strange with the sleep mat. I've got a Thermarest Neo Air X-Lite short mat, and it kind of goes down to just below my hips, and then I put a foam mat under my feet. I find that comfortable because I'm a side sleeper and a restless sleeper. Other people would find that very uncomfortable. It is also a lighter way of doing it than having a whole mat, and it means that should the air mat fail, I've got something in terms of insulation in the closed cell foam mat. That wouldn't be everyone's choice, but it works for me. I find it more comfortable than a full length mat, and it provides that redundancy. This is just a bag of repairs and stuff like that. It's got like a tart clip if I need to dry my socks, wash my socks and dry them on the outside of my pack. I don't want to lose them, so I clip them on tight with that. It's got a couple of clothes pegs for drying stuff. Actually, there's my credit card and cash in case I need that. It's got a spare guy line, shoelace, or a washing line, and then it's got some like tenacious tape and things like that for running repairs. It's also got one strap if I need to attach stuff on, and it's got a reversible zip tie again if I need to fix something. So that's just a couple of bits, and that's in a DCF bag as well. So that's the plastic bag. It's a Nylofume bag, that's what it's called, Nylofume pack liner. And then that's obviously my toilet trowel. There is toilet paper somewhere. I think it's in the food bag. And that I think is all. The only other thing I think is, yeah, I've got my Garmin InReach Mini. That normally goes on there. And my Midgenet, keep that accessible by keeping it in this back pocket. You can see it's just the top pocket of the X-Bed. So I think that is everything. It's all kit I'd used before. I didn't have any new kit with me, so there was nothing I wasn't sure of. I used it all. I used everything there, maybe other than a few bits of the repair kit and first aid kit, but I used everything else. I was happy with everything. There was nothing that I thought didn't work or that I would change. If I was doing the trip again tomorrow, I would just repack the bag and take the same stuff. I might change the shoes. I might go back to the Topa Terra Adventure rather than the Ultra Lone Peak. That's the only thing that I wasn't quite sure of. I've used the Lone Peaks previously. I had a previous pair and really liked them, but on the longer flat paths actually, I found a slight bit of ankle pain. I think the Terra Ventures might be a wee bit better, but that's less about the shoe and more about the way my feet are. But other than that, I would just repack the bag and go, because everything was pretty much spot on, and everything worked really well. So I hope that was interesting. I'll put a lighter pack link up, and you can see a full kit list there. I think the base weight was 6.7 kilos, I think. And then I had food on top of that. I think I had a 4-day food carry, which is maybe around, I didn't weigh it, it was probably around 4 kilos, around a kilo a day, maybe slightly less, maybe 800 grams a day. And I didn't really carry any water other than just up there, but I filled up frequently. There was a lot of water, and then I carried a bit of fuel, mess obviously, and that was really it. So yeah, about a 6.7 base weight, which is all right, given the weather. The waterproofs and all that were needed. So hope you enjoyed it. Check out the lighter pack link and ask me any questions. Always happy to talk about gear, and thanks very much for watching.